So, welcome to my first proper Let's Play. This is Stellaris, the latest version, which is I think Liguin 2.2.7 or something along those lines. And what I'm going to be doing, or what I'm hoping to be doing anyway, is playing through a game, recording my progress, and basically just sort of seeing how it goes. I'm not intending to win it, I'm not intending to necessarily min-max everything or to try and have a perfect run or anything like this. I'm just going to take a more unstructured, story-based approach to it, create a faction, a race, and see how they get on with exploring the galaxy and all the amazing things and horrifying terrors they meet and how they react to it and so on and so forth. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to talk about various things, mostly Stellaris I would imagine, but see what happens. And I expect as well that this first episode will eventually turn out to look, or sound, or both, crude and sort of cringeworthy by the end of it all. But everything starts somewhere, and here is this beginning. So I'm going to create a whole new faction for all of this, because it is after all a new Let's Play. So some initial thoughts on this. I've played various different types of species. I've got about 300 hours in Stellaris at the moment, so this is by no means a sort of beginner playthrough, but equally I'm not a sort of genius who crunches all the numbers and creates the most optimal thing right from the off. I'm not a particular fan of many of the robot options, all the mammalian ones. There are some good ones. I quite like the little star fox type people, and they're quite good. The funguses just don't like them. The mollusks, some of them are good, some of them are okay, most are a bit rubbish. The arthropoids, the birds, the only ones that I really like are the sort of crazed peacock type ones. I think they look brilliant. And the reptiles, some of those are some of my favourite ones. I really like this sort of space turtle, space snapping turtle, dinosaur ones. But I think for this run, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be really boring and be human, just because I think that's a nice, easy sort of thing. So we will be humans. Okay. Not going to put anything in the biography. Right. In terms of the sort of names and so on and so forth, the alternate universe Rome is quite interesting. I quite like that. The sort of militaristic version is also quite good, and then there's the United Nations one, which I like most out of the three, so I think we'll go with that one. In terms of the traits, I really like to go with quarrelsome and deviant, because it gives you an extra 2 trait points, and I think it sort of fits humanity quite well, really. What I would like to do with this playthrough is go quite sort of not aggressive as such, but certainly not averse to a fight. But at the same time, I don't want to be a sort of pseudo space fascist totalitarian dictatorship. So I quite like conservationist, because consumer goods is always really annoying. I don't like having to juggle that at all. Quick learners is quite good. Adaptive is good as well, but expensive. Thrifty is good, particularly for trade value. Intelligent I like, because, well, the research is important. That gives us 1 point left. So I think with that 1 point, what we'll probably do is go for nomadic or perhaps communal. I think communal actually, because when you think about it, we are a communal species. So we'll do that. Then homeworld name. Well, we all know where we live, and we will be on the Sol system if I can find it. There we go. It's that one. The cities are quite good. I like the reptilian city a lot. The humanoid city's strange. It sort of looks like a version of the future designed by the architects of the Gherkin. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a interestingly shaped skyscraper in London. Gherkin is the polite name for it. I think we'll go for the reptilian city because that looks sort of suitably blocky and sci-fi. The mammalian one's alright, but I like the look, the sort of Neo-Tokyo-esque cyberpunk style facades on the reptilian city. I'll take that. Right, so we're going to be materialists, we're going to be egalitarian because utopian living standards is amazing, and we will be... let's have a look. Not authoritarian, not spiritualist. Let's go for xenophile because, you know, humans, and we'll be a democracy. Then let's have a look. So we obviously don't want to be a police state because that, you know, goes rather against the concept of a democracy. There we go. I quite like Beacon of Liberty. That's quite a good one. Gives you extra liberty, not extra liberty, extra unity each month. And environmentalist stacks really well with the consumer goods reduction that we've already taken. So I think we'll go for that. And then these are quite good. I quite like choosing the advisor voice.
Whoa! Space! Just think about it!
We will have equality, liberty, and justice for all.
The only way to make peace with others is to make peace with yourself.
Okay, let's see here. Let's see the lower limit of...
Hyperdrive primed. All systems ready. Now, let's see what's out there.
So of those, I think the choice really is between Diplomat and Xenophile. I like Xenophile. It sounds like a stoned robot. Diplomat is quite sort of Star Trek Federation-y. I think stoned robot is probably
Space.
going to be more entertaining.
Think about it.
So let's take our stoned robot. So we're not really an empire as such. Let's see, what are they? So they're environmentalist. They are Beacon of Liberty. So we're looking at something sounding a little less imperial. Let's have a think. United. If I could spell, I guess. United. Nations of let's try that. United Nations of Humanity, the UNH. I'm going to go for United Nations. Go. Which means we actually do need to go back to the name lists and change the ship prefix. So we have UNH SV for United Nations of Humanity Space Vessel, or UNHV, I think, United Nations Humanity Vessel. Or UNHS? Yeah, UNHS, United Nations Humanity Spaceship, or Starship, or words to that effect. So where were we? Flags. Right. I like the disc in the middle of a field, so we'll go for black field. Blue field, maybe? Yeah, that looks quite good. Yeah. And then human. What are the human options? versions. I like this one, but I also like that one. I prefer that one because it's sort of going into space. That one's sort of a bit too close to just Earth, which is not what we want. So let's have this one here. So it's the stars and little laurel wreath, and the blue represents the blue of Earth as seen from space, and the black is space itself. Right, ship appearance. So we've got a few different types. Humanoid ships, these look a lot like sort of Star Destroyer type things. Mammalian ships are very blocky. The arthropod ships are quite good. I really like the humanoid ships and the way they look, so I'm going to go for those. We don't want to be Chancellor, let's go for First Citizen. We don't have an because, you know, we're not an imperial royal species. And let's have a look. Well, Jiaodeng, so that's quite good. And then hairstyles. That one, why not? They're a bit too militaristic, so let's try and find something that looks less like a dictator and more like a sort of... That's quite good. Yeah. And then the rooms... I do like some of the art on these. Really beautiful. Like this one's really nice, like Space Elf one. It's a bit too religious looking. Definitely not. Too sci-fi. Nope, not Bones. That's quite good. I quite like that. Very sort of Art Deco. Let's go for that one. I think that might actually have been the original one, but it fits quite nicely with the background as well. Okay, so we are the humans. We are a direct democracy. It's the United Nations of Humanity. We are a beacon of liberty, so we have monthly unity of plus 15%. We're environmentalists, which reduces our consumer goods upkeep by 10%. Egalitarian, which means that our faction influence gain is plus 25% and our specialist output is an extra 5%. We're xenophiles, so our trade value is increased and our diplomatic influence cost is reduced. We are materialists, so robot upkeep is reduced and research speed is increased, so that's good. We're conservationists, which means we have another minus 10% population consumer goods upkeep. I'm not sure if that stacks to become minus 20% or whether it's minus 10% and then another minus 10%. So instead of being 100 reduced down to 80, it would be 100 reduced down first to 90 and then to 81. So it's almost the same, but not quite. Intelligence, we get plus 10% engineering, physics and society science research. And we are communal, so it reduces our need for population housing by 10%. Right, so I'll save it in case I wish to play them again, and go. Right, we do want to be eligible for achievements, so that means we're going to play an Iron Man. We want a 4-armed spiral galaxy. Huge is great. I like huge. AI empires, yeah, 7 to 15. Advanced AI starts. Yeah, it's 1 to 3. So at least one AI empire is going to get a boost. Fallen empires 1 to 3. Order empires 1 to 3. Yeah. Mid-game start year 2600, end-game start year 3000. Let's make it 2500, mid-game start year. And victory year, yeah, like I say, I'm not really planning to win it. I'm just going to play, see what happens. Advanced neighbours off, empire placement random, AI aggressive as normal, scaling difficulty off. Guaranteed habitable worlds, that means that in a certain area around where I start there will at least be 2 worlds that I can colonise without any issues. Let's go, starting a new game. The United Nations of Humanity. In the eons since the first primitive human communities took shape in the meadows and forests of Earth, our civilization has spread and prospered. As our technology progressed to a level that allowed for instantaneous communications, our inefficient nation-states merged together to form a true democracy, with every citizen having a say in important decisions. Now, after the discovery of the hyperlane network, the finest minds of the United Nations of Humanity have finished development of the first hyperdrives. The stars themselves are finally within our grasp. Right, let's begin. So, you'll note that it's still paused. That's important because we've now got to set everything in motion. I don't want to lose time, as it were. So we're going to look what are our options. Physics, we can do global energy management. That will be really useful, particularly capacity overload. Often that saves your bacon in terms of energy credits. Physics research plus 20%, that's great because it'll stack with intelligent. And we've got improved deflectors. Well, we're not going to go to war just yet, so I think we'll go for quantum theory. Then we've got off-world trading company, also very good. Biodiversity studies, again this stacks, and ground defence planning. We are going to want off-world trading companies pretty quickly, but I think to start with we want the extra 20%, probably on everything, to be honest. So I'm just going to have a quick look at the engineering. This is where most of your sort of military stuff, particularly in the early game, will be. So we've got standardised corvette patterns, which makes our initial starting ships quicker to build and cheaper. Again, that is something we do want, but not straight away. Better armour and better engineering research, so we're going to go for engineering research. Right, our capital world. So, this is pretty balanced to start with. There's not a lot I can build at the moment because we don't actually have enough minerals. We've only got 100 minerals, 100 energy credits, and 200 food, as well as 100 consumer goods, 100 alloys, influence, and so on. So that's fine, we'll just leave that at the moment. So, we have a construction ship, which is, I don't know if you can see it very well, here is our construction ship. In fact, this is our navy, the 3 corvettes here, the Abhay, the Mulders, and the Jackdaw. And then we've got the Potomac class UNHS Pacific, and here the Explorer class, the Noble. So what we're going to do to start with, we're going to take the construction ship and we're going to tell it to go and build a, let's go and build some minerals, a mining station to get some more minerals. And the Noble will go out and scout to, where will we scout to? Let's go here to this trinary star system. Right, so initially there's not a great deal happening. So I'm just going to crank the speed up a bit to fastest. And then as things get moving, I'll turn the speed down as well. Just a quick overview then of what everything is and what it works. Oh look, it's Alpha Centauri. That's good. That'll be a continental world, so that's one that we can colonise quite quickly. So we've got energy credits, which is money, buys things. We've got minerals, which is what you use. Ooh, excellent. Okay. So UNHS Pacific, having built that, can now we've not quite got enough minerals to build anything else, but what I do want it to do is push over to Io. See, we need 100 minerals to build the next mining station, so what we'll do is we'll wait until we've got that, which we do, and tell that to go over there. Actually, I'm just going to pause it quickly so you can have a look at the construction ship. I really, really like the art in Stellaris. I think it's a really beautiful game. And that extends to the ship models and things as well. It reminds me a lot in some cases of Homeworld, which is a fantastic game. So there we go, that's the little construction ship. Nope, we don't want it to do that. I've somehow managed to turn the map entirely the other way around. There we go. Okay. So while we're doing that, over here we have our little science ship, Sciencing. Again, let's just have a quick look. It scans Proxima Centauri. There we go, look. It's really cool. Lovely little ship, lovely model. Oh, was I? Yeah. So we've got minerals which enable us to build things. So build star bases, well, not star bases, but mining stations, and things on your capital. So buildings in here and districts, they all cost minerals and energy credits. Food, which is important because people need to eat. Consumer goods.
Construction complete.
Ah, excellent. So what we've got now is we've got 2 research stations we can build. So let's go off and build one here on Titan. Okay. Consumer goods, so that's things like watches and chairs and things like that. Then we've got alloys, which you need to build ships and star bases, and influence, which is what you need to use to take new star systems and later on pay for edicts and things like that. In fact, speaking of edicts, what I'm going to do is just quickly run through our policies and change them. So resettlement, yes, prohibited. We don't want to forcibly relocate our people. Let's have a look. So what we probably want to do actually is, although it will increase food upkeep in a little while, what we'll do is we'll get nutritional plenitude, I can speak, and that means that we will be able to feed our people more, and that will make them happier, and they will have more babies. Mixed economy is good because it gives us a decent balance between consumer goods and alloys. The trade policy, however, is going to be consumer benefits, because that will give us another way of getting consumer goods, which is very important. Very important. No, we don't want to have slavery. No, we don't want to purge people, and no, we don't want to have population controls. Indiscriminate orbital bombardment, no, that doesn't seem to fit, so we'll go for selective, because we want to, minimise collateral damage and all that sort of stuff, should we ever be involved in a war. And do we want unrestricted wars? Potentially. Let's just leave it for the moment. We haven't met anybody. Let's not, lock ourselves into anything in particular just yet. Right. So I'm going to build some new spaceships, and at the moment what we want is more science ships and more construction ships. I normally end up having about 4 of each, because this means that we can really quickly spread out.
Construction complete.
And I'm going to build another research station, and once this research station is built, what we'll do... Ooh, what's this? The UNHS Noble has made a startling find on Alpha Centauri III. The planet is teeming with alien life. For the first time in history, we have encountered life forms that did not originate on Earth. This amazing discovery has silenced those who believed we were alone in the universe. Although none of the alien creatures found on Alpha Centauri III are sapient, it is likely only a matter of time before we encounter beings that are. We may not be alone out here. And this gives us 119 research points for our society. As you can see, Alpha Centauri 3 is a continental world that is 80% habitable for our people. Habitable World Survey. We now know without a doubt that a thriving biosphere is not something unique to Earth. Both the scientific community and the public at large are eager to learn more about the various forms of alien life found throughout the galaxy. Efforts to catalogue the life forms we encounter are already underway, but our xenobiologists have urged us to focus our planetary survey efforts on habitable, life-bearing worlds. So we've got 2 options here. We have a commendable initiative, which begins a survey event chain where we have to go and survey a certain number of planets. And we have more important matters to focus on, which gives us 20 influence. Actually, it's probably going to be more interesting to do the survey event chain, so let's do that. It's a commendable initiative.
Situation log updated.
So we'll go to our situation log, and it tells us here. Habitable worlds. We need to survey 8 habitable worlds with an active biosphere. They're eager to learn more about the diverse alien ecosystems found throughout the galaxy. So this includes the arid, desert, ocean, all the sorts of worlds that we can't actually live on as well as ones we can. In addition, it should be noted that our head of state was elected on a platform of bringing our monthly energy credit surplus up to plus 20 a month, which might be quite difficult to start with. And if we manage to do it, at the end of term we get 6 months worth of unity, which just quickly. Yeah, there we go. First citizen. Chancellor, honestly. There we go. Right.
Construction complete.
Sol Starbase has finished its construction queue. Oop, contact report. Planetary Animalia. The United Nations of Humanity is abuzz with news of the alien life found by the Noble. While hardly intelligent by human standards, the fascinating beings defy easy classification and hint at the immense complexities and possibilities of the universe. Although frankly, if we didn't know that by the year 2201, well... Right, so what we have now is we've got two new ships. We've got the UNHS Equinox, which is another science vessel, and that needs a scientist to command it. Oh, this is annoying. I don't like it when this happens. So what we're going to do is have a look at these. We're going to get this scientist here, Kirsten Keller, who is a society type person. So we'll recruit her. And we will send Antonio Saletta, who is currently leading our society research, to command the Equinox. And then we will make Kirsten Keller our society scientist. The Equinox is going to go down to here, and then what will happen is Equinox will go this way, to this system, then this one, and the Noble will go this way like that. And yes, that does mean that we're going to need a new, or the third science vessel to go this way, but we can't quite build them yet. In the meantime, I've sent the Jordan to Alpha Centauri, so that when we finish scanning it and exploring it, we can then build a starbase. Ah, traditions. Right. Okay, so your Unity builds up throughout the game each month, and you can have traditions. And there's various different types, and they each give you different positive things. Now, generally speaking, they will make things cheaper, more effective, and once you complete a tree, you get an ascension perk. And for this sort of game I'm going to start with expansion, primarily because it reduces the cost of star bases by 10%, which is really important. So we will adopt that, and then when we get in the next 22 months, when we get to the next bit, we will be able to reach for the stars. So at the moment all we've done is we've increased the speed of colony developments by 25%. Which is almost irrelevant at the moment because we haven't yet got to the point where we can start a colony.
Construction complete.
Right. So now we're going to get the Pacific and send it to Delta Pavonis. And while I'm at it, I'm going to also design some ships. So we'll turn auto-generate design off, and I'll talk you through my sort of philosophy on fleets. Now, I know that there are going to be plenty of people watching this who go, that's not how you design a fleet, and that's not the most effective. But for me it isn't really about what's the most effective, it's more about what makes the most sense in-game as a sort of style. So the Corvette is the smallest military ship you can get. This is what it looks like. And there's a few different types. So there's missile boats, interceptors, and picket ships. I like to have a balance of all three types. So that's what we're going to do here. Start off with a laser and some nuclear missiles, because who doesn't want nuclear missiles? We won't bother with a reactor booster, or in fact anything in the auxiliary slot here, but we will, however, give it some deflectors and some armour. I like to try and have the same number of shields as armour, but on the Corvettes I go for more armour than shields. And this class, this will be an E for energy, because it's got a laser Corvette. And then we will give the next type a mass driver, and this will be a K for kinetic, because it's got a kinetic weapon on it. And then we will have an interceptor, and the interceptor will have 2 mass driver batteries and a laser battery. And again, deflectors and armour. And this is the I for interceptor. And we'll delete that because we don't want that. Finally, we want the picket ship. Picket ships are great. I like to use the Sentinel Point Defence because it's generally a better weapon than the flak battery. So the flak battery does 50% tracking, damage 3, it's 10% tracking, 75% accuracy. Oops, excuse me. 75% accuracy, range 30, as opposed to this one here. And you see the damage is 1 to 3, damage is 1 to 4, so you get more damage output with the Sentinel point defense than you do with the flak battery. And it'll give it a mass driver and a laser, so it's quite balanced. And this one will be the P class corvette, P for Picket. Right, so now if we have a look at our fleet, we'll get ourselves an admiral. Let's have a look. Unfortunately, none of them have got the trait I like best, which is the one that reduces their sort of supply, it reduces the amount of equipment and minerals and so on that they need to keep going and exist. So let's instead just go for the cheap one, which is Emmett Gilbert, who's 36, and he is lower upkeep and a lower cost. But we can't actually do that yet because we've only got... Oh dear, I didn't even notice that. Right. We can't build anything yet either because we're lacking in minerals. So once we've got some more minerals, we'll build some energy producing things. Energy producing things. Build a generator district. Here we go. And then what we'll do is we'll fill this building slot eventually as well.
Anomaly found.
Ah, an anomaly has been found. A large amount of ship debris can be found in orbit around this planet. Possibly the remnants of some kind of massive fleet action. Gosh, okay. So we want to research that. Why? There we go. Survey system. So the Equinox is now surveying Delta Pavonis. I'm not entirely sure why it didn't earlier. I think I might have clicked Explore instead of Survey. Alpha Centauri is still not quite yet surveyed, but that's okay. We're nearly at the point where we can build a couple more ships, so that's good. Right, and then Fleet Manager. So the corvettes, we're going to retrofit those into P-class corvettes, and we will want 5 of them. Then we want K-class, I-class and E-class, and we want 5 each of these. As the game progresses, this fleet will become bigger, the command limit will increase and so on. But for the moment, first fleet will have a maximum of 20 ships, 5 picket boats, 5 interceptors and 10 missile boats, half of them with railguns and half of them with laser. So that's what we want as a target. We can't build that yet, so that's okay. This is good. So Delta Pavonis has some energy credits. We'll need to build some mining stations to get that because I have a terrible feeling that we're going to run out of energy credits quite soon. Early on in the game, your economy is always staggering from one crisis to another. Actually, I probably should explain that. Just opened it. So this is what the star bases look like. This is a very basic one. The starport. And you start with a shipyard, so you can build the ships, and a trade hub.
Complete.
Oh, good, excellent. So we've built our thing, and look, our energy credits have now gone up to +8 a month because we've built a district of generators. So, yeah, power and so on. And we've got 2 open building slots. Right. So with Earth, what I want to do initially is we want to have lots of research labs to capitalise on our bonuses and benefits. Some of these buildings, as you can see, they've got this little hex underneath the picture. That means you can only build 1 per planet. Others you can build as many as you like up until you obviously run out. Ah, scientist has gained a level. Okay, excellent. And what's this? Somebody else has gained a level. The governor has leveled up. Good. How is our governor? Excellent. She's righteous, so crime is reduced. Brilliant. That's one of my favourites. Ah, here we go. New tradition. So, our options here are colonization fever. So at the moment our colonies are 25% faster to develop than normal. But here we've got the option to maybe start them with an additional pop. which one pop is about 1 million people, roughly, give or take. It's abstract. Or we could have starbase influence, and that's what we want, especially as we haven't yet built any starbases, so that's really good, so we'll take that. And we have 300 in fact alloys, so let's build those ships. So we want another science ship and another construction ship. Signs of battle. There is clear evidence a massive space battle took place in close orbit of Alpha Centauri 5 at some point in the last 5,000 years. The surface on one side of the planet is pockmarked with craters from stray weapons blasts, and scans from UNHS Noble have picked up several hulks on the ground. Though these wrecked ships are all in very poor condition, for some strange reason, the fact that anything remains at all after the damage they have sustained is a testament to their advanced design. Science Officer Klaus Schultz is preparing an expedition to sift through these derelict holds for any valuable technologies. And our only option here is intriguing. And we have a special project that is issued, the Mount Graveyard Expedition.
Situation log updated.
So, let's do that. Mount a Graveyard Expedition. Okay. Well, actually, we've still got some planets to survey, so what we'll do is we will log that as another order. So what it's going to do now, it's going to take their ship, going to survey Alpha Centauri 6, and then 6A, which is the moon, and then they'll come back and they will mount the Graveyard Expedition. What that means is it will enable us to build a starbase whilst they are researching the ship graveyard. And you'll note we also have 500 minerals stored, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build some more research labs and on Earth, and we will still have a spare building slot. So what I'll probably put in there is a autothon monument, which is a monument to the first pioneers to venture into space. Aha! Contact report. Remnants. Weeks after the Noble's latest fruitful exploratory survey, human xenologists are practically falling over themselves to publish their takes on the findings on Alpha Centauri 5. This fevered storm in the scientific community has had some negative, yet temporary impact on pursuits in other fields. Remarkable. So it'll be nice to see Yuri Gagarin and Valentina Tereshkova and all that get a nice big monument. Not that they don't already have them, but, you know, a really big one.
System survey complete.
Right, okay. So what we've got here is we've now finally fully surveyed Alpha Centauri. So what that means is that I can get the Jordan and get it to build a starbase. So you can see here it's 67 influence instead of 100 to build, so that's great. So they're going to build that. And the Noble is busy researching that ship graveyard. And we also have the Cortez, which needs a leader. And we will send Fang Zhao to do that. And they are going to go and survey this system here. And once we've done that, the Colorado, which is another engineering vessel, will go and follow on behind. Early on, what you're trying to do is grab as much territory as possible, because inevitably you'll run into
System
other
survey
alien empires.
complete.
So as soon as you complete a survey, get your ship moving and your engineering vessel building. Barnard
Construction
Star.
complete.
Right, okay. So now what we want to do is we want to build mining stations, and we want to follow that on with a research station, and we can see here that we actually can colonize Alpha Centauri. So let's do that. Well, once we've got some more alloy, we'll do that.
Construction complete.
Excellent. And we don't quite have enough money to build this mining station, these mining stations here. But we might have enough to build some individual ones. Yeah, we do. Okay, let's do that one.
Special project complete.
The team under Science Officer Schultz has finished their expedition on Alpha Centauri 5 and returned to the Noble. Sadly, the wrecked starships on the surface were too badly damaged to recover any useful technologies. These vessels were clearly very advanced, however, and we could gain valuable engineering insights if we analyse the way they were designed. We should consider the construction of a permanent science outpost in orbit. Interesting. This adds an extra 3 engineering to Alpha Centauri 5 and increases Klaus Schultz's experience by 200. So that's quite good. Speaking of good old Schultz, let's get him and his ship over here to survey that system. What you will find is that the science vessels outstrip their
Anomaly
engineering
found.
supports. Ah, here we go. Efforts to map the surface of Barnard Star 1A have identified a strange mountain formation in the southern hemisphere. It does not appear to have formed naturally. Right, well let's research that. You will find that the science ships outstrip them because there are
Construction complete.
far more systems that are really quick to survey than there are with anomalies and so on. Ah, uh-oh. Right, we're running low on energy credits, so that's bad. We lack 200 minerals, also bad. Okay. However, this shouldn't be too much of an issue because fairly soon we will be building a mining station here and
Construction complete.
acquiring more. We hope. Yeah, here we go. So, like I said earlier, at the moment it's all a bit of a juggling act, trying to keep your economy afloat. It does get better, but you want to prioritise energy credits really early on, because energy credits are quite critical. Fonok 2 strategic resource discovered. During its survey of Fonok 2, which is down here, the UNHS Equinox discovered several exotic gases previously unknown to us. These gases have a variety of different uses, particularly in the operation of advanced energy-based weaponry and force fields. Some of the gases can also be used as starship fuel, or even as recreational drugs. Oh, sounds fun. While we do not yet possess the means to extract this resource, we should seriously consider establishing control over the system for future exploitation. Absolutely. Right, we definitely want to do that. Which is fine, because we were going to do that anyway. So, everything's...
Anomaly found.
What's this? Ooh, Rentamario. Sensors pick up rhythmic movement on the hellish surface of Rentamario 1A. Oh, research it. Yeah, everything's going reasonably well so far, so that's good. Gigantic skeleton. What was previously thought to be assorted mountains in the southern hemisphere of Barnard Star 1A have been identified as the massive skeletal remains of a single colossal alien life form. The bones have been dated as 3.4 billion years old, but our scientists have ruled out that Barnard Star 1A could have supported life on that scale at any point in the moon's history. Science Officer Zhao has prepared a special research project to delve further into this mystery. Fascinating. Issuing a special project, investigate gigantic skeletons.
Situation log updated.
So let's do that. Again, what we want to do really is make sure that they've finished surveying the system before they do that. So we will do so.
Construction complete.
Okay. Build another research station. And then once we've done that, we want to send them over to Rentamario. Geothermal. The measured pounding observed from orbit is the motion of immense and ancient geothermal extractors breathing their last. Built and then abandoned at some point in the distant past, the vast batteries of disintegrating machinery have been pumping up superheated fluids from the planet's core ever since. Their storage capacitors are all broken or leaking, but some energy can still be siphoned from them. Yeah, excellent. Energy credits gained 844, that's useful, and add +3 engineering to Rentamario 1A. So suddenly our energy credits don't look as bad. That's fantastic, that's given us a bit of breathing space. Here we go, so let's see what we want.
System survey complete.
We've completed a system survey in Fonok, which is down here. So you have to survey that, and let's have a look. Administrative capacity. Early on in the game, this is probably quite important. At the moment, I've got an administrative capacity base of 30, which isn't great. It's the very basic option, or basic standard as it were, and what that represents really is it represents the ability of your bureaucracy to control and monitor everything that's going on. So it's all your tax collectors, your sort of administrators, all those sorts of people, and what they're doing in trying to keep everything running smoothly. And the larger your sort of territory is, the harder this becomes, and it will eventually impose really large penalties on everything, from cost of leaders when you hire them, to upkeep for everything, to cost of new buildings, the whole lot. It all goes up and up and up and up. You can keep a lid on it. I never do. I don't really find myself particularly badly impacted by it, because generally speaking, you're going to have enough of a income in everything to be able to just carry on. It sort of scales quite nicely with your territories and mining stations and all that sort of stuff. So I've never really let it bother me too much, although some of my friends have said that they've done playthroughs where they've stuck to their administrative capacity, and it's worked quite well for them, but we're not going to bother with that. So instead what we'll do is we will have starbase upkeep reduced by 20%, because this will help us with our economy at the moment. So that's good. Let's do that.
Construction complete.
And what have we finished building? Right, so we want to send that ship down to there, build a starbase. And they're already on their way, so that's okay.
System survey complete.
Right, so know what I was saying earlier about outstripping your engineering ships? So this one, the Jordan, which is going with the Noble, is now 2 systems behind. But that's okay.
Research complete.
Aha! So, engineering research plus 20% has been completed. Advanced instrumentation allows for the study and practical application of physical systems at nanometric scales. So that's good. This will make lots of things easier. So we can make better guns, increase minerals from jobs, that's probably quite good, and mining station output. 0G refineries and mining station output is the best thing, because your mining stations give you energy credits, minerals, alloys, and research. Well, no, not research, but it gives you your alloys and your minerals and energy credits, so that's really important, so we want that.
Anomaly found.
Ooh, an anomaly found. A colossal impact crater hints something big collided with the surface of this planet once. Yep. Absolutely. The Cortez. Right, and while we're at it, let's quickly build that Autothon monument.
Anomaly found.
Another anomaly. Who's that one? That's the Equinox. Has briefly detected unusual energy readings emanating from this planet. It might have been a glitch in our systems, or it could be a sign of something more. Well, let's research it and find out. Right. So the other thing that you'll note is that planets have planetary features, some of which you can get rid of because they are blocking things. Now, I could pay to have all of these removed, but as you can see that would reduce our energy credits by quite a lot, and it's not hugely important at the moment because we still have 3 available districts. So unfortunately for the people of Earth, we're going to leave the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, the Industrial Wasteland and the sprawling slums for the time being. Instead, what we will do is we will hang around a little bit and build ourselves one more mining district, one more agriculture district, and another generator district. Eventually what will happen is that all of these districts will be closed down and turned into housing. But that's a good few hundred years in the future.
Research complete.
What have we researched here? society research. Studying the different forms of life that appear on our world helps us better understand ourselves and the life that surrounds us. Right. Hydroponics farm is good, but yeah, not great at the moment. Population growth speed also good, and it will lead to some really cool stuff. But monthly Unity +2 and additional edicts. Let's go for this one, because Unity is important. And Schultz has leveled up
Construction
again.
complete.
Right, okay, so let's build mining stations. That'll give us some more energy and some more minerals. Microsingularity. A microsingularity recently intersected Eurus-1, passing straight through the core and emerging on the other side of the planet. The encounter does not seem to have caused any permanent damage, but has altered the energy output of the planetary core slightly in a way that defies our current scientific models. Further study may be warranted. Fascinating. Adds +3 physics research to Eurus-1. Okay. That's good. Asteroid collision. A large, mineral-rich asteroid collided with Barnard's star 6 at some point during the previous 1,000 years in what must have been a major impact event. An abundance of minerals can now be found on the planet in the vicinity of the impact crater. A fortuitous event. Adds +3 minerals. So that's good. Right, I'm going to have another look and see about colonising Alpha Centauri. Yes, we can, so let's do that. I'm not going to call it Alpha Centauri Prime. It has a potential total of 9 agriculture districts. So let's call it Eden. And what you'll find
Research
out
complete.
Physics research. Exploring the mediation, there we go, of fundamental forces through subatomic particles. Subatomic meditation, that would be quite good. Okay, research station output +10% is pretty much a no-brainer at this point, although research speed +5% applies to everything. And survey speed +25%. All of these are really good. I think what we'll probably want to do actually is the survey speed +25%, and we'll come back to zero-G laboratories and so on. Just because that will enable us to sort of spread out much faster.
System survey complete.
There we go. They're off to research the gigantic skeleton and
Construction complete.
build that. Oh, what's this? The Barban system. The asteroid PTRE 915 is emitting some form of radiation in controlled bursts. Is someone or something trying to communicate with us? Okay, let's find out. Earth's finished its construction queue, so what we now have is 2 research labs that will eventually just become all research labs, 1 ally foundry, 1 civilian industries for those consumer goods, and an autothon monument which turn consumer goods into Unity and society research, so that's really good too. Actually, while I'm at it, let's go and have a look at our rights as a species and change them. So, living conditions. Right. We don't want decent conditions. Social welfare is probably a good one at the moment, but my preferred favourite is utopian abundance. Partly because it fits the sort of story that these people have. They're egalitarian, they're environmentalists, they're trying to, make life better for people. The only downside is, as you can see, it increases the need for consumer goods by 20%, which is a lot. So doing it can prove problematic. So let's start at any rate with social welfare, because decent conditions don't like that. Probably should have done it about 100 years ago, but never mind. Better late than never. Full military service, yes, that's fine. Colonization allowed, of course. No population controls, no migration controls, and as you can see, we can't purge anybody and we can't enslave anybody, both of which are good things. In fact, let's just set default rights. So at the moment, if you are a species and you join the United Nations of Humanity, you will become You'll be a full citizen, you'll have social welfare, you'll be eligible for military service, you can colonise whatever you want, and you will not be subject to any population or migration controls. Which is better than real life at the moment for lots of places, but there we go. Right, this construction ship cannot yet build a starbase. The reason for that is because it's not linked to any of my current territory, so it's much more expensive to build. Ah, what's this? Cell cells. PTRE-915 is partially hollow. Within its interior spaces sprawls a dense honeycomb structure crafted of an unknown alloy housing containers of alien genetic material. By all appearances, this is an archive of life, the genetic record of some earlier civilization come and gone. Most of the DNA is hopelessly degraded, but there's still much to learn here. Fascinating. Doesn't give us anything, it's just fascinating. That's fine.
Construction complete.
Good. Okay, so build some mining stations, then build some research stations.
System survey complete.
Okay, we'll send that one that way.
Anomaly found.
Ah, atmospheric readings from Barban 6 do not match simulated projections. Okay, let's find out. Why is this?
Special project complete.
Aha. Our continued studies of the massive skeletal remains on Barnard Star 1A have managed to shed some light on how the creature ended up on the moon. There are very faint residual energy readings that indicate some kind of dimensional portal existed briefly towards the rear of the skeleton. Science Officer Zhao theorizes the creature passed through this gateway from another dimension, only to quickly perish in the hostile environment of Barnard Star 1A. Why it did this, and where it came from, are questions that may never be answered. Astounding! Fang Zhao gains 200 experience, and we gain 150 physics research. So that's good. And we can send her and her ship off to survey another system.
Construction complete.
Right, and here we want to build some research stations. So let's do that. So you can see those exotic gases, we can't access it yet. We haven't got the technology to do so. Ah! Ooh, wow. 22
Construction
slot.
complete.
I'll talk about that in a second. Swirling shadows. Immense ragged planes of shadow drift across Barban 6's face. They are cast not by clouds, but by sheets of organic material drifting through the upper layers of the atmosphere, hinged, or rather jointed, to allow for a small degree of articulation. Science Officer Schultz is as yet unwilling to say whether these things are flora or fauna, or what possible purpose, if any, their elaborate shadow casting might serve. OK, adds the shadow play modifier to Barban 6, +3 society. And our colony ship, the strangely named Valhalla, is ready and on the way to Alpha Centauri. Where are we? Where is our colony ship? Here is our colony ship. It is the Persepolis class. And it looks like that. And again, that's a lovely ship. Lovely, lovely model. Okay. So we're going to go off and settle Alpha Centauri, and once we've surveyed this system we will settle Sirius as well.
System survey complete.
Okay, now no, I'm not going to survey these worlds because that's what the Cortez is going to do. I'm going to send the Cortez up this way, rimwards, and we'll send the Equinox corewards. Right. Right, so we're going to, yeah, as I said, we're going to send the Equinox corewards this way. See what we can find. Tune down, it's leveled up. Right.
Construction complete.
Okay, good. Huh. More traditions. This is good, as you can see, because we're getting 24 Unity a month. It's quite fast, which is great. I'm going to go with Courier Network just to complete this little section of the tree, which means the next ones will be Colonization, Fever, and a New Life. Right. The Valhalla is on the way. Still moving, but it will soon be colonising Alpha Centauri, or Eden. All going quite nicely, really. I'm sort of waiting for the shoe to drop. That's there. Okay, we can build this starbase now, which is great.
Anomaly found.
Somewhere beneath Sirius IV's unctuous clouds, unnatural structures silhouette themselves against the toxic surface. Okay, this is very hard, which means it will take quite some time to research, but that's okay. Do it anyway.
Founding a new home.
The first human colony. Our colony ship has gently touched down at the mouth of a large river delta on one of the several continents that can be found on Eden. This temperate forested region will serve as an ideal first landing site. The ship has been permanently converted into the administrative headquarters of the new settlement, and its reactor core is in the process of being removed so it may serve as the colony's temporary power source. Hundreds of small tents and prefab shelters have sprung up around the former starship's massive hull as colonists begin to disembark in large numbers. The first human city on an alien world. A great day for the United Nations of Humanity, and we gain an extra 150 engineering research as well. It takes some time to set up the colony, so that just carry on going. In the meantime,
Construction complete.
what have we done here? Ah, we've finished this. We'll build some research stations in Rantomario, and then what we'll do is we'll have to turn the outpost into a starport at some point, but we lack the alloy to do it just yet, so that's fine.
System survey complete.
Right, so we completed this survey. Let's go this way.
Construction complete.
Good. Build another starbase. The Irasian Concordat. We have recovered artifacts from an ancient alien civilization on LA4, LF4. What we have translated so far of their language, we have learned that these aliens called themselves the Irasian Concordat. They were an interstellar power that held sway over this region of the galaxy a little over 1 million years ago. They appear to have been 6-limbed mammalians, and there are several references to some sort of plague called the Javorian Pox, which swept across their empire with devastating results, possibly leading to their extinction. Interesting. Begins the Precursors, the Irasians event chain.
Situation log updated.
Precursors, the Irasians. So what we need to do is recover 6 Irasian artifacts, and we can find where it came from. We want to do that because the home systems are filled with amazing minerals and stuff, and some of them have some pretty cool things as well. Right, yeah, we're running low on energy again, so ooh, and -1 amenities. Oh dear. Okay. Well, when we get to 30 pops, we'll build a theatre, and that will increase the amenities available, so that's good. That's fine. That's not a problem. Happiness isn't an issue anyway. We've got 59% stability. It's all good. No crime. 3 available jobs. It's all good. It's fine. It's fine.
Anomaly found.
409F88 periodically spews an alarmingly eclectic mix of particles and radiation into the void. Well, better get working on it.
Construction complete.
Okay, and again, we're lacking influence, so we'll just move to Barban for the time being.
Research complete.
Research complete. What was that? 0G refineries. The addition of internal refineries on mining stations will substantially increase mineral production. Good. Right. Planet build speed plus 25%. At this point, I think we're going to have a look at upgrading our military. So what we'll do is we'll go for some better armour. Speaking of upgrading the military, let's actually do that and turn these Black Hawk classes, which look like that, into P classes, which swap the flak battery and one of the mass drivers for different weapon systems. And while I'm at it, let's recruit an admiral. Yeah, let's go for Mr. Gilbert, Admiral Gilbert of the First Fleet, because he's cheap. Cheap and cheerful to start with.
Construction complete.
First Fleet has been fully
Construction
upgraded. And there we go. So we're building more energy, but at the same time we're using more energy, so swings and roundabouts. Could build another one. I'll leave it for the time being and see what happens. So the First Fleet is now fully upgraded. It's not, as you can see, at its maximum strength, but we don't need it to be built up just yet. We haven't seen anybody that's another alien species, and frankly, there's no pirates yet either, so we don't need to worry about that. Must be quite boring being a UNHS naval officer, or rating. Don't have anything to do. Ooh, an election. Okay, let's have a look. So, we could support people, but we don't have the influence to do it really, because it's a waste. And there's a variety of different people. Each of them have got about a 25% chance of getting elected, except for Camilla Saldana. We are nowhere near the energy mandate, so we're not going to get the unity bonus, but that's not a problem.
Construction complete.
What have we built here? Oops, euros. Oh, okay, that's fine. Move to that. As you can see, influence is a real blocker. Ah, ooh dear, okay. So this is annoying because it means we're going to have to get a new scientist. Potentially. To replace Schultz, who has gone from being the commander of a scientific expedition to the first citizen of the United Nations of Humanity. So he must have had an interesting last year or so. Our first citizen's reign has come to an end with their election campaign promises unfulfilled. So, our current one is alloy metallurgy. Bring our monthly alloys surplus up to +12 a month. That's easy enough. We're nearly there already anyway. Habitable world survey, we've only surveyed one, so everything's sort of chuntering along. Now then, let's have a look at our scientists. Do we have any spare? No, we don't, so we're going to have to hire a new one. That was annoying. Because of our current energy issue, I'm going to pass over the Roma for this eager one, but just because he's cheap. Cheap and cheerful. Anlu. Now, what was he doing, and where is he? Surveying that system. Survey away.
Research complete.
And we've completed some more research. Research complete. Planetary unification. Ancient warring tribes, historical nations in conflict, now united in empire. This isn't an empire. We must not, will not crumble. Okay. Off-world trading companies. Yes, we do want that. Excellent. Colonization fever has been adopted. New colonies start with one additional pop. So the next one will be population growth speed increased by 10% in 34 months, so just under 3 in-game years. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to reduce the speed down to normal. So, because we're getting to the point now where quite a lot of things will start to happen. so we need to have some time to sort of think about it and react accordingly. Normal speed is 1 day every second, which sounds fast, but actually isn't, which is good. To upgrade Alpha Centauri station to a starport. I'll talk a little bit about the way I build starports and starbases and what I put on them and things like that once we get to the stage where
System
we can actually
survey
put stuff on.
complete.
Right, okay, so this system is complete, so let's go and survey that one. We could build a new starbase in Ublion or Barben, but I'm waiting for Sirius to be surveyed, which will take a little while, but that's fine. It'll build up a nice buffer of influence while we're waiting. So, whilst not a lot is happening at the moment, I'm just going to have a quick chat in general about who I am and why I'm doing this. So, I am a middle-aged white dude from Britain. I live in England. I live in the middle of England in the Midlands. And I am doing this mainly just because it's a bit of a lark, a bit of fun. I quite enjoy playing strategy games like this. I think YouTube is a really interesting place filled with all sorts of funky let's plays, and basically I just wanted to put my silly little videos out there and see if maybe other people like them. Hope you do like it. If you do, consider subscribing and liking and all that sort of stuff. And hopefully as time goes by, the videos will become a bit more professional, and the things I say will make more sense. Perhaps not. Illicit matter. The UNHS Equinox finds a disturbing tangle of technology hidden in a deep crater on the asteroid's surface. Evidently, someone has, with rather simple means, managed to stabilise a one-way wormhole, and Science Officer Antonio Saletta quickly asserts the asteroid is the exit point. The other end opens up somewhere in uncharted space, some light years away from a black hole, and small quantities of dark matter are leaking or being siphoned through the wormhole. Whoever set this up seems to have abandoned the operation. Fascinating. Dark matter deposit found. Again, this is something we can't access yet, but it's important to have. 409F88, this is it here. The UNHS Equinox has discovered a previously unknown strategic resource, dubbed dark matter. This exotic substance has many properties that seemingly defy several natural laws. It could potentially revolutionise the sciences. While we do not yet possess the means to extract this resource, we should seriously consider establishing control over the system for future exploitation, which, of course, I will eventually. It's interesting playing this game as a sort of peaceful, utopian, left-wing style species, because a lot of the terminology within the game is manifestly not that. Constant references to empire, talk of exploiting resources and all that sort of stuff. I like to think that because these people are egalitarian environmentalists, it's not so much exploiting as, utilising renewable resources and all that sort of stuff, and where we are using non-renewable ones, doing them in a manner which is not sort of strip mining. But it is quite interesting. Ooh, what's this? There are signs of activity by an ancient precursor civilization. Brilliant, this is really important. We need to find 6 of these, remember, on this inhospitable rock. Good, okay. Where is Naka? No, okay. I mean, it's something that a lot of 4X games like this sort of fall prey to, which is to couch everything in sort of quite
Research complete.
imperialist language. So, what's this? An advanced AI will aid science officers in their task to explore strange new worlds, seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no Blorg has gone before. The science ship will be able to explore the galaxy with help from an AI. Okay, capacity overload probably useful, energy grid also useful, but I think what we'll do is we'll have field modulation, which is increasing energy credits from technicians. We want that, we need that. Economy's a bit wibbly wobbly at the moment. It's not quite wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff, but it's definitely not functioning too great at the moment. Yeah, so I just think it's interesting how these things are framed, because obviously if you're playing a militaristic dominating imperial empire that wants to conquer the galaxy and subjugate everybody in it, and all the terminology works fine, but if you're not doing that, it can be a bit jarring when you're sort of envisaging your space hippies frolicking through the space trees. That's not really how you want to, you don't really want to see them talking about empires and things, but it's not the end of the world. It's not, doesn't destroy the fun of it for me. But it would be nice if there was a mod out there that replaced all instances of the word empire with civilization or species or something along those lines. Faction, maybe. Who knows, maybe there is one. If you know of one, or are in the process of making one, or anything like that, leave a comment below, and I'll have a look and play it.
Construction complete.
And let you know what I think. Right, okay, so starbases. Now, with starbases, what we want initially is, as you can see, the colony is still being made. We need a trade hub to gather the trade value from it. Although technically, because it's only one system away from Sol, you could have that from Sol, but I like the sort of roleplay element of having a trade hub. You would have a trade hub in your star system with a colony on it, you just would. And anchorages are also important. The more anchorages you have, the higher your naval capacity. But initially what I like to do is I like to have a trade hub and a gun battery, and once we've got a trade hub built, I will put in a where are we? An off-world trading company as well, but for the time being,
System survey complete.
it'll probably be resource silos. I tend to have one main manufacturing starbase, which will pump out the majority of my starships, and that will eventually build the really big things like Titans, Colossuses, all that sort of stuff as well. I'll have starbases dotted around the edges of my territory that have shipyards on, so I can reinforce fleets if I'm at war and that sort of thing. Most of my starbases will have at least one anchorage on them, usually two, and what I tend to do is I try and have a fairly balanced mix on most of my starbases. But I do also have an Admiralty starbase, which will just be nothing but anchorages, crew quarters, and the Admiralty, and that's in my head. That's where the headquarters of my space navy always is. I have played a few games before with humans, and I have a tendency to build that on Barnard's Star, and this is not going to be any different. I will eventually build an Admiralty in the Barnard Star system.
Anomaly found.
What's this? An abandoned ship has been left to drift aimlessly above this moon. The massive sails protruding from its hull suggest it relied on solar power to function. Yes, let's research that. We're nearly done with Sirius as well, so that's good. Right, I'm going to stick a resource silo into Alpha Centauri station. Resource silos increase resource storage, so increase all of the max caps on these by 2,000 for each one you have. You'll want lots of them because eventually you'll need them to have the colossal amounts of alloys and minerals and things that you need to build the enormous mega projects, the superstructures, things like Dyson spheres, habitats, gateways, all that sort of stuff in the sort of mid to late game. So it is important to have resource silos and things. Fairly recently, what I've also been doing with my planets is trying to sort of monotasking them. So my capital world is usually nothing but research labs. Then I'll have a world that's nothing but alloy plants. I'll have a world that's nothing but farms, and so on and so forth. And what I find is that tends to be really helpful. What's this? Grinding lattice. Sirius 4 is crisscrossed by overlapping mineral composite bands that are elevated above the harsh surface by tall, flexible pylons. Clearly of alien origin and constantly agitated by atmospheric winds, the pylons sway and the overlapping bands rub together to produce sonic waves at, to humans, inaudible frequencies. Science Officer Zhao reports some trouble isolating this audio from the natural background noise of the planet, but also notes the mineral bands could, should we so choose, be broken down and efficiently recycled by the UNH. Make preparations for salvaging the mineral bands. Plus 6 minerals. Yeah, here we go. So this is something that if I was going to make suggestions for improving the game, and I am, I think I would like this to have an option where you could just leave the mineral bands and maybe get society from it. Because quite clearly that's something that's been built by aliens, so why destroy it, why break it down? But that's the only option we've got, so there we go.
New frontiers established.
Aha, Colony Eden has been established. Excellent. Okay, so first of all, we're going to build 3 generator districts, because we need it. And then we'll build some agriculture districts, and we'll build other stuff later when we've got the minerals to do it. But what I want to have eventually is this to be a sort of breadbasket world, so we're going to have all 9 agriculture districts. Probably won't have any generator districts eventually. I won't bother with mining districts, and we'll have the rest as city. So it's going to be mostly housing and farms. As you can see, there are blockers which we don't know how to clear yet, because apparently the technology to chop down trees and shoot wildlife doesn't exist, but there we go. We do now have 2 inhabited worlds with 30 pop. You can translate that into millions or billions, probably billions, although the idea that there's 28 billion people on planet Earth is, well, entirely believable. Once that grows to 30, as I say, we'll do something about this immunity problem. In fact, we'll give that a bit of a boost by clearing the sprawling slums, which will give us a bonus pop. So, this just shows you, this population shows you how many people you've got and what they're doing. We've got some guard regiments here, the 2nd and 3rd Planetary Guard. And this tells you, well, you've seen this before, this is all the districts and the specific buildings and things. Okay. Ooh, Solar Sailor. We have discovered an abandoned solar sail ship in orbit around Procyon 2A, that's here. The sublight vessel was built by an unknown culture and appears to be several thousand years old. One of the massive sails has a large tear where some kind of object passed through, most likely a meteoroid, which appears to have disabled the vessel. Although the technology of the ship is severely outdated, it does possess some interesting engineering design choices. An interesting, albeit primitive, design, which gives us 150 engineering research. And Aun Lu has developed new skills as a result. And we've only got a couple more things to survey on Sirius, and then we can get to building some more star bases and things. Leveling up. Okay. So this is the galaxy as a whole. as you can see, it's quite large, and we are very small fry at the moment. As are, I suspect, most people. I'm just hoping that we aren't, unfortunately, next to something like a ravening swarm filled with aliens that want to eat everything and devour our souls and all that sort of stuff.
System survey complete.
Fang Zhao has developed new skills, and we have finally surveyed all of Sirius, so it's time to build some starbases. Sirius and Barben.
Construction complete.
What was that construction queue? Can't remember. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay.
Research complete.
What have we researched? Ceramo metal armor. Afterburners. This is really important for the way I play my corvettes. Minerals from jobs plus 5%. Mining station output. Let's go for some extra mining station output because I want to really boost that as much as we can. So you see now we've got a population of 29, and we have emigration of 0.9. Immigration pull is 19%, emigration push is 50 because of newly founded colonies. And we are having issues with amenities. But as I say, soon that won't be too much of a problem. Right, I'm a bit wary about the first fleet, so I'm going to build another 2 of the P classes. But obviously not too many.
Construction complete.
Excellent, good. Right.
Construction complete.
Okay, so the Alpha Centauri starbase has now completed. So it's got a gun battery which provides anti-piracy protection to these systems here. So that's Barnard Star, Alpha Centauri, Sol, and Delta Pavonis. And we've got Trade Hub, which pulls in trade from Alpha Centauri, Sol, and other places as well. Right, okay, traditions available. So now we can complete the expansion tradition tree with a new life, which awaits our citizens in the off-world colonies, a chance to begin again in a golden land of opportunity and adventure. With the help of an aggressive marketing campaign, the less fortunate elements of our society will be flocking to our colony ships. And that increases population growth by 10%. So yes, we do want that. And this also gives us an ascension perk. So these are really important, particularly if you want to build the really big things like the megastructures. There's quite a few. I have a tendency to go for the same ones time after time after time, and I'm not going to change that too much. So the best one to start with is Interstellar Dominion, which reduces the starbase influence cost by 20% again. So it means we can build them faster. Influence isn't so much of a block to our expansion, and claim influence cost is reduced as well. So if we are claiming systems off a rival civilization, then we can go for that. It makes it cheaper to do. Technological ascendancy is also really good, but I think at the moment what we want probably is Interstellar Dominion. So if you remember, it cost 67 influence to build a starbase previously. Now it costs 52, which is great.
Construction complete.
First fleet is now 4 ships because we've just built the Paul Bunyan. Some of the names these choose are quite interesting. As you can see, our consumer goods is dropping, so what we'll probably end up doing with Eden is making it a consumer goods manufacturing place. Certainly we're going to need to build some fairly quick. And again, we'll colonise Sirius once we've got enough alloy to do that. fairly soon we're going to need another science ship, because we're going to have one go this way and one go that way.
System survey complete.
And I want to try and get this researched quite quickly, because the precursor stuff is likely to be over here. And we want to get there before anybody else does. Oh, what's this? Oh, a tundra world. Okay, well, this is good. This is going to be part of the habitable worlds chain. As you can see, we're building just districts to start with. So we haven't built another one. Yeah. The art is amazing. I love the little pictures. So, really beautiful, beautiful game. It's funny because a lot of the time you spend sort of staring at this screen, and actually if you go into the star systems, like Alpha Centauri, so this is like a trinary star system, so you've got these 3 little stars and all different. The planets themselves are beautiful, like this one here, Eden. Or we can zoom out, and this is Alpha Centauri B, there's gas giant. If you go to Sol, you can actually, and it's got all the planets, all the stars, all the planets. So Mars, which you can eventually terraform, but we can't do any terraforming yet. As you can see, it's a terraforming candidate. There.
System survey complete.
Right, Gemma has been fully surveyed. Let's go there. Psionics. As if that exists. That's good. That's 7 energy credits. We'll want to take that fairly quickly. As you can see here, this is trade value, so this already has
complete.
3 trade. So that's really good. So we'll go and build a starbase there, and I want to colonise that reasonably soon.
Anomaly found.
Aha! A small and otherwise insignificant moon orbiting this gas giant, Oshimir 10, appears to be on a trajectory that will soon result in a collision with its primary. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for the first episode. Again, as I said earlier, I hope you liked it. I hope you weren't too bored by my blitherings, and if you did enjoy it, then do feel free to subscribe and like, and I'll try and post these fairly frequently. I'm thinking maybe once a week, maybe a bit more frequently than that. It just depends how I feel and how often I play this game. Yeah, thank you for watching, and see you next time in space.